So this is what the old content optimization tool looked like, and this is the new one. So the new one now has a new elegant interface, so you can still see all the mentions that your competitors use for topics and still see topics that are missing, for example, over here, and all of the functionality is still available. However, we've improved dramatically the keywords research capability and the content planning. So you can see in the background here that as we're talking, the system is doing some proper keyword research around the concept of renewable energy. And this keyword research now is really trying to understand what you mean by renewable energy in context. So it's not just coming up with a list of keywords that are search volume based around search volumes. It's really coming up around context, and more importantly, it's trying to group things together. So as you can see, so far we've got 59 keyword variations, and particularly we've got them in clusters. So there's the concept of energy and renewable energy within that. But if we go down to say solar energy, which seems to have finished thinking, we can see the keyword volumes for keywords around the concept of solar energy. So now we're not just getting a total volume here of, so far 537,000. We're getting the volume broken down by concept within there. And we can start to see concepts within the concept of solar energy. So now we're getting the stuff clustered together. So we've got solar energy and energy storage in Texas, and solar and energy storage and solar energy advantages and disadvantages. And what it's tried to do is it's come up with some relevance for these keywords. So you might be much more interested in talking about solar cell energy change than, for example, energy finance, which is a little less important. And then right down the bottom here is a bunch of PDFs, which we've deemed unimportant. So you've got a color coding for the relevance. And then if we jump into a completely different topic here, or a different section, the energy industry, then we can start to see what we need to talk about if we want to really get to grips with the energy industry itself. We should be talking about the news and the trends and the prices and the jobs and the councils and the consumption, etc., market share. So these are very different keywords to solar energy. Or if I go to something like photovoltaic energy, then we're starting to see a whole load of things around photovoltaic energy. It's seen that PV is a synonym for photovoltaic. So we've clustered these keywords, and we're bringing up all these keyword variations based around topic clusters, currently 71 of them. And what is also interesting is that we start to work out verbs as well. So the system is still going on, and it's probably worth in your investigations to go and have a cup of coffee and let this research really go through, because you will find that we start to work out questions and other things. And we're doing quite a lot of lookups right to the end, and you may get a really important idea near the end of this research. But even so, let's jump in here. And we've taken user intent to a whole new level in this tool. So traditionally, if you go to Wikipedia today and look at user intent, then it talks about the concept of user intent being either transactional, navigational, or informational. So one of 4 or 5 different concepts. And that is really naive when it comes to user intent, because of course, the user is trying to do something very, very specific to them. So if they're trying to buy renewable energy, that's an entirely different thing to try and generate user energy, for example. So now we can go and have a look at the verbs that are important to us. So we can go and have a look at generating user energy, and we can see a whole load of things coming in, and they're still coming in as we go. So let's go to another one here. Buying renewable energy comes up with different kinds of ideas. We've got different verbs coming in here. So we'll wait until the verbs complete, and we'll come back to that in just a second. I'll come to the content plan as well. And this now really changes the way in which you can write your content. And this is a whole new way of looking at content. So before we had a content plan, which kind of gave you some keywords, but now we've taken it to a completely new level. We've taken the competitors' headlines and shown you what kind of context those headlines are in. So for example, a competitor's headline here, someone's put renewable energy explained, or types of renewable energy sources, into the section on renewable energy, or we can jump down here to let's have a look at tools, and then somebody's talked about data and tools, and then next tracker in there, and then it's got all the topics that are important for that section. So if you want to have a section on renewable energy tools, or renewable energy storage, or photovoltaic renewable energy, you know the topics that you should be talking about in that paragraph or that section of text. Or you can, of course, take that into its own text, its own page as well. So far, we've not built in a methodology to say when these should be separate pages. This is writing a page around renewable energy, but you could, of course, use this to write a whole website as well, and use these sections as pages. It's entirely up to you at the moment. We're going to try and help you work out, when it should be a page or when it should be a section, maybe in a future release. But what we can do here anyway is we can, this is brilliant, I think. We can now sit there and say, right, you know what, I do want to talk about renewable energy. That's great. And so I can put that into my content plan. I can then talk about I don't want to talk about the US because I'm in the UK. I do want to talk about tools. I do want to talk about storage. And I do want to talk about solar and wind. And every time I press this plus button, it's taking all of these sections and putting them into my editor so that I can work on that later. So now I've got some content here already, but it's now built a nice, lovely little content idea here that's telling the author or the writer, the content writer, what it is to write about, and giving the section heading and the types of things they need to talk about in that particular section. This, I think, is a much better way at looking at keyword research. In the past, keyword research, as I say, has been, how many people have typed in the word or searched for the phrase photovoltaic energy last month, and then there's no necessarily relationship to the concept of photovoltaic battery, which may be completely unrelated to the user in the context of, say, renewable energy. So this keyword research and user intent now is now taking things to a whole new level. You also have the ability to go down here and take out whole sections. So if you really think that EIA energy is not appropriate, one click and the whole thing's gone. And now the system's finished. You can see that we've got 2,190 keyword variations around the concept of renewable energy. And the volume overall is near 100, near a million searches a month, but that's based in 71 clusters. So really it's a big subject to be talking about. And we've also found 1,122 questions within here as well. So where are the questions? Well, if I click on, say, solar energy and head down here, we can see underneath the keywords questions that we found, and these questions are questions that we found in Google Suggest. So these are questions that we know customers or potential customers are typing into search engines because these have come through the Google system. So adding this layer of insight into user intent, I think, is something very, very valuable and very, very worthwhile. Back in the SERP analysis here, we still have things like the topic chart that we had before, and you can still have the ability to export. You have the ability to export your keywords to CSV as well. So a huge value proposition here. We've not changed the pricing of inlinks at all. This is in every audit or every content brief now. However, we do have to take a little bit of time to generate this because there's some real work involved. Hope you like it. Hope it changes the way you look at things. If you talk about it, blog about it, tell people about it, let us know so that we can say a link to it as well and tell people what others think about our product. Thanks very much for your time.